Hello. Hello. Hi. Unnecessary Roughness, college football playoff preview live on a Thursday night. Surviving Barstool coming up. You got a Thursday night football game coming up. Plenty of stuff coming up. We'll let you get to it. We're going to talk to you for an hour about the college football playoff. And we would do it after Big Ev, who is going to, well, we're all going to Columbus this weekend. And I just can't imagine. I know that Big Ev a couple weeks ago took a tough loss. But I can't imagine my friend Big Ev not enjoying a 20-degree Saturday in Columbus on playoff day with a high noon in his hand. Is that correct?
Brennan, a high noon is high noon in college football. It's a staple. They just go together like peanut butter and jelly. There is no Saturday where I'm not consuming college football and high noon combined together. It's fantastic. Kayce, high noons. Like the end zone pack, all the different flavors. Like I said, now the refrigerator, don't need it. Just put them outside. Boom, we're there. They're ice cold, ready to go. That's the way they're meant to be enjoyed.
And also the holidays next week. You know, sometimes to even just get through the holidays, happy, sad, mad, joyful, a high noon makes it better. HighNoonSpirits.com. Find a pack near you.
We start on Friday night when Indiana and Notre Dame play. I let me just do a brief overall playoff thing. When we heard about the 12-team playoff, we had several opinions. So we thought, some people thought it will weaken the regular season. Some people thought it would strengthen the regular season. Some people thought it was good. Some people thought it was bad. Big Av, as we sit here on the eve of it, what are your feelings as we go into it as opposed to what they were when you found out about it?
Great. Great. Like, listen, there's some things that need to be adjusted, no doubt about it. And we've talked about it, like maybe all these conference winners don't need to be buys, just maybe just automatic bids, slot them at the end. But no, I think you feel great about it because I think, listen, there's, especially this year where I think people would agree, there are a few teams outside the top four that have a shot to win. A lot of people think Ohio State still has a shot. A lot of people think Notre Dame has a shot. Maybe if Tennessee wins, maybe they have a shot. There's a lot of teams outside of it. Penn State, people think is live. So I think feel fantastic about it. I think it's definitely was a good start. Like it was the guinea pig. We saw it. We've realized what we did right, wrong. But overall, like I'd say like B plus.
Kayce, as we are on the eve of it, balance your thoughts of what you thought, a year and a half ago as to what you think right now with it starting tomorrow.
Oh, I love it. And I loved it then. And obviously, I do completely agree with Ev. There needs to be some things tweaked. Like, I don't think you should get an automatic buy. We've seen that the matchups, we did this when we saw the bracket. The matchups would be much better if they just ranked them in order and played them the way they should. I think it is so cool that we are about to have 4 games starting tomorrow, obviously 3 on Saturday, before Christmas in college football that not only matter, they matter for the national championship. Because this time in the year, if you're a big bowl person, bowls were exciting, but you had to wait until New Year's. You had to wait till New Year's Day just to see who was even going to be able to play for a national title. We've got all these teams playing this weekend. It's going to be incredible. And I think it's even more fun for us because obviously we get to be involved, but we're seeing what we said before was like, guys, obviously it was going to be better than 4 teams. Why not? And it's like, Brandon, we were right. We were right. Look at that.
How'd you do that?
I have no idea, but my brain just made it happen. Because Brandon, those of us big brain people, college football going to 12-team playoff was the right decision. And who isn't excited?
So I might be the bad guy here.
Uh-oh.
Nobody was a bigger proponent of the playoff for me, and nobody's more excited about the playoff for me. I think it's going to give us a true champion, and I think it's going to be very good, and it's good for the sport and everything. When I first found out about it a year and a half, 2 years ago, I did have this vision that, okay, well, good. We're going to get the 12 best teams on the field, and we're going to settle it. And we just don't have that. We don't have the 12 best teams. Now, I think we have found out is it is pretty much literally impossible to make sure the 12 best teams get inside the top 12 because you're going to have the schedule disparity in these big conferences this year was such a wrecking ball and such a force that it squeezed some teams in here that shouldn't be here. SMU is not good enough to be competing for a national championship. So neither is Indiana. But they're here because the schedule allowed them to earn their way here. And they're here because the other teams who are good enough fucking tripped on their own dick and blew it, and they don't deserve to be here either. So I guess I envision 12 teams, 12 equal-ish teams fighting it out. What we have are four not quarterfinal, but 4 first-round games, and there's not one of the games that has a spread inside a touchdown. So I love it. I love it. I love that we're going to get what we're going to get over the next month. I did envision better teams at this point in the season. Blutman, I said my thing. They said their thing. Where do you fall?
I mean, I lean more towards your thing. My thing is excitement is obviously an A+. We have high stakes college football about to be played. How can you – this is what we've been building for years. Like, yeah, I'm amped up. There's inherent flaws. We know that. I mean, the 6th seed has the best draw of anyone. Like, yeah, that's a flaw, and that's easy to get flustered by now. I still think, hey, probably should have been an 18 playoff, but we're at 12 and, very happy about it. It'll be 14-16 soon, is what it is. Just got to deal with it like we've got to deal with a lot of the things in this sport. Brandon, you mentioned it, the spreads. They ain't thinking that game's going to be all that competitive on Friday and Saturday. A guy like me, the home playoff game is sick. It really is. I want the most competitive game possible where any team could win on any given field. I just rather have neutral site. I understand that that's going to be like throw it away or whatever. It's going to be cool. It's going to be amazing seeing Notre Dame host the playoff game in December. I can't wait for it. I also want the most competitive game. I want each team to have like split stadiums just full of fans and everything. And I'd love the neutral site game to be played outdoors instead of indoors. I want the authentic feel of football in December outdoors.
I do understand your thought process, but we have seen even when it was the 14 playoff with a neutral field, there were still plenty of blowouts. Like
of course. I'm more so just speaking to the spread.
Yeah, so here's my thing with and I understand it's not the 12 best teams, but and I don't think that SMU has a chance to do it. I don't think Indiana has a chance to do it. But if for some reason they do go in and win a couple of games, they might not have been one of the best 12 teams, but it's to get a true national title this year, you have to win 4 games. So I do think that makes it more interesting. But Blutman, I mean, having them on campus is true college football.
I know. I can't wait for it, but I'm also saying I want the bona fide best, most competitive game and the best product possible. And yeah, the home crowd's going to be great and everything. If we were trying to get the best game, it'd be neutral site, the most competitive game where either team could win. It'd be neutral site. SMU does not have a chance on Saturday because they are playing a road game in Happy Valley. And yeah, they're the inferior team. They have no shot. If it was neutral site, they'd at least have a shot. They have no shot Saturday.
Yeah, Kayce, I believe if SMU does win a couple games, I would salute them. I would applaud them. I would ride my unicorn to the game. I
don't think they have a chance, but it's the whole thing for me from the very beginning. And I know a lot of people said this too. It's we need to expand the playoffs so they can just play these games. Because all season we've been saying, well, the ACC and the Big 12 doesn't hold a candle to the SEC and the Big 10. The SEC's down. The Big 10 is really top end. Let's just play these fucking games and see what happens. Now we're actually going to see, okay, how bad is the ACC compared to the Big 10? Guess what? We're going to see that on Saturday, and that's going to be awesome.
All right, we have Indiana, Notre Dame Friday night, Big F. You tell me what your gut says about Indiana, who went 11-1, blew out a bunch of bad to average teams, they beat Michigan. They beat probably their best win, I guess. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But anyway, you got Indiana who went 11-1 against that schedule. They got blown out by Ohio State. And then you have Notre Dame who beat Texas A&M on the road for their best win to open the season. Then they lost to Northern Illinois in the worst loss of the season. My gut has told me all along Indiana just can't win a playoff game. But to be fair, Notre Dame ain't done shit either. So what do you make of it, Big F?
Well, I want to say this too, because obviously we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday, the games. I wanted to make sure I came in here with my concrete, my thoughts and ideas. I think I'm pretty firm on all 4 games now. I feel pretty where I'm going to be at. I've talked myself into, I think Indiana can make this a game. I think this game will be close. I guess I'll say my prediction. I think I'll say Notre Dame wins by 4-6. Yeah. I do think Notre Dame is the better team. They're obviously at home. I think their defense is probably the best unit on the field of the 4 their major units. But like you said, the Notre Dame thing, everyone's drinking the Notre Dame Kool-Aid, and like I said, they're good. Riley Leonard has overall made good decisions, not a ton of turnovers. They obviously play great defense, but Indiana should get some credit. They beat the shit out of everyone they played besides Ohio State, and then I guess you could say Michigan too. But Michigan's a physical team, not as physical as Notre Dame, but they still have a solid defense. They did beat them. I think they can make this close. Like I actually think it's going to be more higher scoring too, because I think Notre Dame's going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to be able to move the ball quite a bit, and I think Indiana has a chance to throw the ball well here. Like USC threw the ball in them a lot. I don't see why Indiana can't either. I think Indiana has a better quarterback, maybe even has better receivers, or it's close at least. Surratt's really good. Like they have some athletes. I think Indiana can make this a close game, and I think it's higher scoring. Like I like Indiana with the points, and I like the over. I think Notre Dame wins a close game, like 4-6.
Kayce, your thoughts going into South Bend?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Ev that I think it's going to be closer than what I thought earlier in the week. But I mean, when you asked the last time, like, can Indiana beat Notre Dame? My biggest thing was, and I know it was week 2, but Notre Dame proved they can be beaten by the worst team of any of the teams in the playoff. Like the Northern Illinois loss is not lost on me. Now, different team, Marcus Freeman got to put together. I get that. I understand Indiana's schedule was very easy in comparison to the rest of the Big Ten. They still played a Big Ten schedule and for the most part blew out everybody. Notre Dame just didn't play a great schedule outside of playing A&M in week 1, who went 8-4. They beat the shit out of Army. They beat the shit out of Navy. Those are not like jump off the page impressive wins to me. And I just feel like that as much as we're giving Notre Dame like the extra credit, like we're drinking that Kool-Aid, there's still some like people are discrediting Indiana because of the game they played against Ohio State. And I think that if Ohio State Notre Dame played, I would still take Ohio State. Like I feel like there's something with Indiana that we just wanted to throw out. Like, okay, throw the baby out with the bathwater. They lost to Ohio State. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois in the early season. So I think it'll be closer. I am going to take Notre Dame to win, but I think Indiana keeps it within the points.
There's a difference to me. Nightmare matchup for Indiana. Just nightmare matchup for Indiana. Michigan out-physicaled them, bullied them in the second half especially. Ohio State out-physicaled them, bullied them the entire game. Notre Dame is built like those two teams. Notre Dame doesn't have the explosive athletes on the outside that Ohio State has, and certainly Michigan doesn't have that either. But Notre Dame doesn't have that, but they will absolutely pound you with the run, which is exactly what Indiana's kryptonite's going to be here. And they will their defense will bottle you up and will beat you at the line of scrimmage. And I think it's a nightmare matchup for Indiana. It's, again, great story, Indiana. Terrific. You made the playoff. You'll hang this banner. This banner will hang forever. It's great. It's an awesome accomplishment. It ends tomorrow night. Notre Dame's, I don't think Notre Dame's all that good. Like you said, they lost to Northern Illinois. Their resume isn't great, but they are built to win a cold weather game in South Bend against a team that I don't think can match up physically with them. That's what I think. Blutman, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that, 1, I think the winner of this game beats Georgia. 2, we were listening to Gruen talk about this game earlier on Mostly Sports, all-time episode, right, Brandon? Double stamp it, yes.
They were, by the way, they were so excited to come bust into y'all's show. They were on the Pro Football show with us earlier this morning, and Smoot was like, is Brandon Walker doing his show right now? And they just took off set. So great moment for you.
Like them, Gruen talking about this game was interesting, and me and him share a lot of thoughts. I like knowing that. But Gruen was talking about this game in Indiana's rush defense and how they were able to handle Michigan and Ohio State. That's a lot happening on the interior. Notre Dame's got a guy at quarterback, Riley Leonard, who has lethal legs. They've got a guy at running back, Jeremiah Love, who is a world-class athlete, and they've got another guy at running back, Jadarian Price. They've got 3 guys. That's 6 legs. That's 6 legs that you've got to worry about that are violent and just disruptors and could break open this game. And it's not happening on the interior every single rep. Notre Dame's got a great offensive line. They set the edge very well. They're so good in the perimeter run game. Jeremiah Love's going to be able to get off to the perimeter, just simple bounce off, bang, up the sideline, down the seam. That's what's going to be scary. Is the perimeter rushing game. The perimeter passing game is just simple stuff where Riley Leonard just RPOs it and he's throwing to the flat, and they've got a playmaker that could take the ball and run downfield. Brandon is right. unfortunately for Indiana, this is a mismatch. I do think that this team can be competitive. I do think that this team could have beat other teams in the first round. I don't think they could beat Notre Dame. I think it's too difficult of a matchup. Notre Dame's secondary is really good as well. I understand the USC game. USC got some numbers up on them. USC was able to get passing numbers up on anybody. It didn't ever lead to wins, though, did it, Lincoln? Notre Dame's secondary is legit. Xavier Watts is a superstar. Notre Dame's going to win this game by 2+ touchdowns.
Kayce, do some business.
DraftKings, Brandon, and no, it's not the same promo that we've been running for a long time. They've got a new promo, Brandon. They have a special offer in honor of the college football playoff. So obviously this is our college football playoff preview episode, and DraftKings wants to jump in the mix. Head over to the Sportsbook app and you have to opt in. So make sure you opt in to this promo. You place $10 or more on any college football playoff parlay that has at least plus 400 odds. Whatever parlay you want, as long as it's plus 400 odds. And 100 listeners that are listening to this right now that do this, that go opt in, will have a shot at receiving $1,000 bonus bets for the college football national championship. So you can go on, it'll explain it all to you on there. But again, they're jumping in to the college football playoff. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, check it out today. The crown is yours.
All right, we move on to Saturday at noon, much to the dismay and chagrin of Penn State fans. But Big F, this is another one where I just don't have a whole lot of interest in pretending SMU has a chance to win this game. I just don't think they do. The difference in the athletes, the difference in the quality of the team, I just think Penn State is a much stronger, much better football team than SMU. SMU, great story, but life in the ACC did not prepare you for Happy Valley on a December Saturday. What say you, Big F?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Brandon. I think this is a route spot. I think there's a couple in this playoff. I think this is definitely one of them. I think Penn State wins big. Yes, and SMU, I do like the over as well because I think Penn State's got a chance to score 40 here. I think they got a chance to put up a big number. Drew Aller, I mean, I know he threw a couple of picks. I thought he played well in the Big Ten championship game. I liked how they got going. I think Warren is a big game. Running backs are going to get them on the outside. I think they have a big game, even potentially in the passing game. Yeah, I think Penn State rolls, and I like the over. I think they just score a ton of points. I think SMU scores enough to get over the total. But, yeah, Penn State route.
Kayce?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the route. This is going to be the one that we look at and be like, see, even though, like I said earlier, like if SMU can somehow pull it together, they won't. Penn State's going to run the ball down their throat the entire game. SMU could not stop the run in the ACC this year. They didn't play a team that has running backs like Penn State. And, I mean, this is, again, like this playoff was made for guys like James Franklin. James Franklin has proven that he can go out and beat teams of lesser talent than them, lesser quality. Look no further than SMU, and I think Penn State, freezing game, they're just going to run the damn ball in a route. Completely agree.
Blutman, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, that's the thing about James Franklin, right? You can't win a big game. Good thing this isn't a big game. South Dakota State, North Dakota State's the big game to look out for in the same time slot. Also going up against Texans Chiefs in the same time slot. So good on Penn State. Also, it's a noon game. We know noon games ain't big in Happy Valley anyway. Yeah, Penn State should win this one fairly easily. Abdul Carter is going to be not just wreaking havoc. He's going to be screaming down the throats of SMU's offensive line, and poor Kevin Jennings is going to have to scramble for his life. That's where Kevin Jennings is at his best. Where he's not at his best is just passing. He is not – his mechanics stink. I do not see what everyone else sees with this kid being a potential Heisman winner next year. That's malarkey. Kevin Jennings is in for a rude awakening on Saturday, and so are his fanboys that think that this guy's like the next Lamar Jackson. He cannot throw the football on a consistent basis. For SMU to win this game, they have to get bailed out by their running back, former receiver Rashard Smith. And I don't know how they're going to keep Penn State off the board. Tyler Warren should have a field day. I'll talk about that later.
Big F, we got Texas and Clemson. Texas got here by virtue of playing in the SEC championship game. They lost to the only good team they played twice. They got a couple of decent little wins there. The A&M win is propping them up pretty good. The Vanderbilt win's not terrible, but they don't have a whole lot to show for it. And then Clemson, frankly, shouldn't be here. So they shouldn't. They took advantage of a system that allowed them the opportunity to play for a chance to get to this playoff when they should have been eliminated. But they did get here. They earned their way legitimately, even if it was illegitimate. Like they earned their way here, and I will tip my hat to them. I'm not sure they should have had the chance to earn their way here. It was kind of silly the way it all played out, losing to South Carolina and then going the next week. Anyway, Clemson, Texas. Big Ev, I think Clemson is the one underdog this week with the biggest chance to win. That's what I think. What do you think?
I had an epiphany on this game, Brandon. I'm the opposite.
Okay.
I was feeling more that way earlier in the week, like Clemson was live. The more the weeks got on, the more I think they get killed.
No, Ev, no.
The more I think Texas wins this game really big. The more I think that they just dominate in the trenches. I know. Listen, there was a lot left to be desired from Texas's offense in the A&M game. Totally get that, but their defense was absolutely relentless. And I actually thought their defense played great. I thought in the SEC championship game too, played really well.
They gave up 2 drives. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think the more I said, that's why I almost felt bad that on our last episode, I said I thought Clemson was live. In 48 hours, my brain totally went the opposite way, and I'm firm here. I think Texas wins this game pretty comfortably.
Kayce?
I mean, yes, obviously, like my all bias aside, like I think Texas, even just the line, the Vegas line is showing us that they're not respecting Clemson. The thing with Texas is, and I know, Clemson's defense is not Georgia's defense all the time. Clemson's defense is still very good. A&M's defense is very good. And Texas hasn't, they scored 1 touchdown in the last 6 quarters. Something broke with Quinn Ewers, and we saw it a little bit throughout the season. And I understand you still have Arch Manning, but their offense, something has been missing. We've been saying that for weeks now. The biggest thing is, and Ev mentioned it, is that Texas defense is nasty. And Cade Klubnik, I think, had 33, 34 touchdowns this year, and they got rolling when they needed to. But when they played really good defenses, they couldn't score. And maybe they scored a little bit, but they struggled. And South Carolina being that last game that we saw in the regular season. So I do believe that Clemson is live. I think that they cover the points. I really wish I could take them to win. I don't think they beat Texas, but I do think they keep it closer just because I don't trust Quinn Ewers in that offense to not make a mistake to blow them out. I just don't think Texas is capable of blowing a team like this out.
So I'm going to do a little exercise here. I'm going to read the Texas Longhorns schedule. And Big Ev, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What I want you to do is stop me when I tell you the team they've played with a better quarterback than Cade Klubnik. I want you to tell me when they played a better quarterback than Cade Klubnik, all right? They opened the season with Colorado State. They won 52-0. They then went to Michigan and beat Michigan 31-12. They then beat UTSA 56-7, ULM 51-3. They opened conference play by beating Mississippi State 35-13. They then played Oklahoma and they won 34-3. You remember, that's not even Jackson Arnold. That's the freshman backup.
Yeah, Hawkins.
They then played Georgia. They lost 30-15. They then played Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, probably the best quarterback they played in the regular season. They played Florida, won 49-17. That was against the third stringer from Yale. They played Arkansas. They played Kentucky, Brock Vandagriff. They played Texas A&M freshman Marcel Reed. Then they played Georgia, Carson Beck for a half, and the backup for a half. You tell me if they played a quarterback as good as the one they're going to play this Saturday. I don't think so.
Honestly, I know this might be a hot take at this moment. I still think I'm taking Beck over him. I'm not the biggest Klubnik guy. He's had a better season, but he also, he's played the defense he's played are also way easier than Carson Beck played. Listen, I love Diego Pavia. Shout out him another year. He's back. Diego Pavia forever. No, listen, you're probably right. I get the point. I get the point you're making. But even if you look at for example, they play South Carolina at home. They score 13 points.
He played. It is weird because Sellers and him both played great games, and the points just weren't there. I think the final score was 17, 14, 17, 13. It was weird because Clement, he made the big mistake at the end where he threw the pick. But he played pretty well, and Sellers played pretty well. It was a weird game where I thought the quarterbacks were good and the scores were not.
That's fair. That's a fair point. It's a fair point. I just think the more I've thought about it, I just think their defense is going to be too physical. I hear your point on. I think in the trenches they'll win. I think Clemson will struggle to run the ball, and I think that'll become a problem because they don't have the athletes on the outsides. Once they can't run the ball, they can't just like beat you with like athletes. And I don't think Klubnik's going to just like pick you apart with his arm. Like I against this defense, I don't. That's where I'm at. I just don't see it.
Blutman, Texas, Clemson.
So there comes a time in our lives every single time the playoffs happen in any sport where someone gets in who's undeserving. It happens all the time. And there's a decent bit of the time where that team is playing with house money and they kind of outperform the expectation. Unfortunately, I just do not see how Clemson could be that team.
What was that set up for then?
I'm just talking ball.
He just wanted the drama. Okay.
Okay.
He wanted the drama.
Brandon, it's called podcasting, Playboy. Let me teach you a little thing.
Sorry,
Brandon. He's a showman. You wouldn't get it.
You want to get?
You wouldn't understand.
Just sit back and shut up and let him cook.
Greatest showman in the Mackley Sports League. Don't forget that. Coach Delicioso. Salute. We won't forget you. We'll forget Dabo, though, one day. That's for certain. I don't like that Phil Moff is coming into this game banged up and hurt with shoulder injury. Don't love that at all. I've grown to be a little more fond of Klubnik. I actually like him. We spoke about Gruen earlier. When Gruen was talking about Quinn Ewers, part of me wanted to stand up and hug John Gruen and say, wow, you're speaking straight facts, homie. Quinn Ewers, we keep talking about the missing piece. What's missing from Texas? And that Quinn Ewers is broken. That toy's not broken. It just got built incorrectly. There's been something wrong with him since last year when he got hurt, and he has not been able to recover from this. There are countless wobbly throws, balls that float, poor reads in his progression pre-snap and during the play. His mechanics are not consistent. So to me, I don't think either of these teams, honestly, is a threat to win. A week ago, I would have told you Texas was a threat to win the national championship. Unless they make the move to Arch Manning, I do not see that. I really think that either team is more than live to get beat up by Arizona State. I truly believe that. There is a consistent worry in all of our brains with the Texas quarterback position. There is a consistent thought that Clemson doesn't deserve to be here and just isn't that good. So, man, I can't wait to watch this game and try and find if one of these teams is going to prove me wrong.
I have no idea who he picked in this game.
I'm picking Texas. I think on the lower scoring end, I think Texas like 23-10-13. Arch Manning's probably going to score a rushing touchdown, and then the fans are going to be like, whoa, play the kid.
Speaking of Gruden, I did ask. I asked him before we started the show today. I was like, who do you think is going to win? He said he thinks it's going to be Oregon, and he was like, but I got to tell you, I don't like the way college football is being run these days. I don't like all the changes, so I'm going to go for Clemson because they're doing it the purest. And I was like, damn, I wish Brandon was here for that because he's right. I know, but just like a couple years ago, if you would have heard somebody say that, you'd been like, what, Clemson? Like, what are you talking? He was like, Dabo didn't go into the transfer portal. He was like, I think that they should win because of that.
Yeah, he might be upset when he finds out they're taking in a receiver from Southeast Missouri State. That changes everything.
Now he is, but okay. So before we get to the next part, Brandon, we got to talk about some clothing that all men should have, and it's the holidays. I understand it's probably a little late to get some gifts, but it's never too late to buy the man in your life some Chubbies. Ever, or women, whoever. If you want to wear Chubbies, they are the best. Obviously, and Ev, I know that you want to be the guy that holds onto the shorts for as long as possible with the weather. The Chubbies shorts, they have 3 different inseams. They have the original stretch, so you can show off a little bit of thigh, no thigh, a lot of thigh, but they also have tons of other options. They've got a lined swim collection. And guys, I understand it's December. I understand it's the winter. There's nothing wrong with gifting some swim trunks, some really, really good quality swim collection because summer's coming. The spring is coming. Why not give the guy in your life I almost said something that sounded a little weird. Why not gift the guy some Chubbies. Okay. Use code ROUGH20 at chubbieshorts.com for 20% off your order. Again, they have all different types of clothing on there. We love them. They look great. They're flattering. They're comfortable. I've told this story plenty of times, Brandon, when Paige, your sister, and I slept in your studio after some alcoholic beverages. We all slept in Chubbies and we slept great. That's how comfortable they are. Use code ROUGH20, chubbieshorts.com, CHUBBIES shorts.com, 20% off your order.
Big F, I'm not going to say any words here. Ohio State, Tennessee, Saturday night. Your thoughts?
I think we can do it, Brandon, but I'm worried. I'm concerned. That's all. I'm concerned. I think we can do it. I think we will do it. I think we win the game. I'm not even going to tell you by how much. I just think we find a way to get it done. I think when I looked in this game more, I really sat and thought hard about it. I've been acting like a little bitch about this game. I have been. I admit that. Hand up. I've been pretty quiet this week. I've been just taking everything. I've been just kind of letting it come to me, feeling it out. We're going to win this game. We're going to find a way. Am I worried about their pass rush, their D-line against our offensive line? Absolutely. But the one thing I feel good about, and this thing I did say on Tuesday, is I trust our defense. And the one thing with this offense, the thing they want to do, they want to run the ball. That's what we want them to do too. We defend the run incredibly well. Nico, he's played a little better as the years went on. No doubt about it. I give him credit for that. But still, when you look at a lot of his splits and just kind of the way he's played, a lot of big numbers against some bad teams, but plays good teams, a lot of And I think you come to Columbus on a cold day against this defense, I think he's going to have a hard time out there. I think Ohio State wins a low-scoring game. I'll say Ohio State wins, 27-17. Close game, low-scoring game.
I personally, I'll just go now. I think it's even lower than that. I think it's your 17-13 game. I think Tennessee represents a big test here in that they have some of the tendencies that give Ohio State trouble. They are, they're kind of a team that'll slap you in the mouth and kick you while you're down, and that's a toughness that Ohio State has had trouble with a couple of weeks ago. Ultimately, I just think Ohio State's just better, and I think Ohio State had one of the biggest mental stumbling blocks we have ever seen a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think that's who they are. I don't. I think they're a better team than that. This is a team that lost to Oregon 31-30 at Oregon earlier. It's a team that went into Happy Valley and beat Penn State. It's a team that killed Indiana. This is a team that is good enough to win the national championship, and as long as they show up over that mental whatever happened a couple of weeks ago, as long as they're sufficiently embarrassed and playing like they never want that to happen again, they're going to win. But I also can't get the thought out of my head of Chip Kelly coming out, play calling like a bitch in the first quarter again, like he's done 3 times this year, and Ohio State being down 14-0 with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Ohio State fucking panicking. I pick Ohio State, but Tennessee's lurking, and they're damn good, Kayce.
This is the one that I keep going back and forth with. And when I filled out my bracket, which obviously was like just a fun thing to do anyway, it's like, oh my God, we're going to do this. Is the one that I had to leave blank for a little bit because I keep going back and forth. Like, obviously, I do think Ohio State, they're going to come out with some fire. I don't believe in Ryan Day at all. Like, Ryan Day being the guy, and that's no surprise to you, but like Ryan, I'm not even talking about just like the coaching situation. Like, Ryan Day being the guy to rally this team to come back from an embarrassing loss. Like, I don't see this man being like that kind of rah-rah guy. He seems like he's still whining. However, Liam, what's the word you use when it comes to Will Howard? Is it goofs?
Yeah,
right?
goofs.
Like,
he's got the capacity to goof.
He has the capacity to goof. And I know that there's been injuries on the offensive line. Tennessee's defensive line is very strong, but if, and this is a big if, because we've seen it happen now multiple times throughout the season, but if the goofs can just be to a minimum, if the goofs can just not exist, I do think Ohio State is the better team across the board. I'm going to wait till we reveal our bracket. I still am going back and forth. I think it's going to be a very close game. This is obviously the game on paper that I'm probably the most excited about, just from a standpoint of like, I think it's going to be the most competitive. And Will Howard and Ryan Day scare me. They scare me. They scare me a little bit. They do.
Yeah.
And Tennessee's defense is very good on the front seven. Very, very good. So if they can.
Ohio State, so
I know.
When does Josh Heupel won a big game?
Well, beating Alabama.
Alabama a couple times, but like he's also blown it after he got that. So I'm just saying.
There is an element, Ev, and I know obviously like in our little bubble because of who our boss is, like we talk about like Ryan Day can't win the big one, but it's like he's having issues with Michigan, and like Tennessee's not showing up with Michigan's helmets on. So that does play a factor, right? Like it has to a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
From a mental
I hope
standpoint.
so. I hope they can get off the mat. I mean, the only thing I could sell myself on is, the Georgia game in the playoff, even though they didn't lose, like that was an incredible Georgia team that they clearly gave an effort, like they got off the mat for. There's no
Right.
moral victories, but clearly, like they responded to the Michigan loss, played really well in that game. So, like, there's a hope that they can do that again. I don't. Now, granted, listen, that was a team led by C.J. Stroud, and C.J. Stroud ain't coming out of the tunnel for us.
No, he's
And
not.
that's a massive, massive, massive downgrade. I don't even know if there's enough massives I can say that would fit before Surviving Barstool ends between the gap between C.J. Stroud and Will Howard. Well, I don't know. This defense is a lot better too. Our defense is a lot better than it was that year. So who knows? I don't
He
know.
didn't have the propensity for the goofs.
No,
Have
not much
you
goofing from C.J. Stroud. Just a lot of balling.
Have you gone on this game? Go.
I'll keep it quick, though. One, Nico has a chance to say, hey, I've seen what you guys have done with Drew Aller. I've seen what you guys are doing with Jackson Arnold. I see what you guys are doing with me. I've seen what you've done with quarterbacks in the past and just been flat out wrong on. I could still be that guy. Nico has a chance in the playoffs to show people don't give up on me. Don't slander my name. I'm this incredible quarterback prospect that you need to invest in. So I'm intrigued to see what Nico brings to the table against a very good Ohio State secondary, headlined by Caleb Downs. He could pick apart in the DBs, on the corners, more specifically words. Two, as I said the other day, James Pierce, Josephs, Jenkins, Norman Lott, etc. The Tennessee front seven is malnourished. They are starving, angry at the bit. They can't wait to feast on an Ohio State offensive line that is depleted, crumbled, and down, and just a sad state of affairs. And that's where I think the game is won and lost. I hate what Ryan Day is doing on his little parade of the media tour. He is not speaking like a confident head coach. The fact that he already said, hey, I can't wait to be rotating our guards in this game is all I needed to hear. Tennessee wins this game 31 to 17 to 20. I think Tennessee's going to just manhandle them, man. I don't think Ohio State has the dudes to do this because they're not instilled with the confidence that they need to be. They're not instilled with the true Ohio State DNA. The coward that's at the helm right now, he's lost.
Big Ev, I know you don't want him to be right, but you're also scared what he just said was true about the coward part, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's one. This is the best way I can describe my moral dilemma with Ryan Day. I've said all the things that Liam just said,
Yes.
but then somehow when he said them, I just got offended by them. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? I've literally said those exact things about that same man, but then when he said them, I just got a little upset. But not about you, Liam. It's I'm upset because you're right. And
It's
that's
not,
why
you
that's
can
the part of me the why I'm upset.
You can say it about your brother or sister, but nobody else can, type of thing. You can say it about a family member. The issue is the word is confidence. Again, he just doesn't instill confidence in people outside of Ohio State. But Ev, he's not instilled confidence in you, and you're an Ohio State fan. So how are we supposed to believe that this man's going to turn it around?
I said he's broken my confidence. He has. I'll listen. I'll find confidence for Saturday. I've said that I'll the juice will be there. I'll have it. I'll bring it. And because I'll rally around this team till the wheels fall off. I do it time and time again. I'll get up, dust myself off,
yeah,
and I'll get punched in the mouth again. I'm hoping that we can find a way to win this game, but I'm definitely worried.
Blutman?
It's not even just about what Ryan Day has done in the media and about how they've crumbled against. It's not the fact that he is so inept in just understanding things. Isaiah World, the Nevada left tackle, 6'8", 300+ enters the transfer portal, just committed to Oregon yesterday. He's had there. Ohio State was in the running. He wanted to potentially go play at Ohio State. He goes, has his visit, talks to him. Day and Coach Fry tell him, hey, we want to play you at guard. That's a 6'8", 315-ish pound man that I don't think gave up a sack all year, if I'm not mistaken, at left tackle. And they said, we want you to play at guard, big boy. Run the program the wrong way. And the Ohio State fans are wondering why they lost another kid to Oregon. Because the guys that you've got running the program are so inept. They're not smart people. I feel bad. I really do feel bad because Ohio State should be one of the headliners in the country when it comes to innovation, smarts, and how to play and run a football program. And they've lost it because this idiot head coach, he's a buffoon.
All right. Well, I don't have as negative a view of Ryan Day as Blutman does, nor do I have an emotional connection to Ohio State that Big Ev does. I still look at them as them and Oregon as two best teams.
I'm calling someone out in the chat. This Buckeye fan 04. Dude, the admissions thing is crazy. You could transfer into Ohio State. You could transfer in anywhere. If we're talking about not getting in to Ohio State because of grades and transcripts and all that, that's just you're not doing that. You find ways to make it happen.
All right, we're not. The show's too packed to talk about the Nevada guy transferring.
That's just a fact.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Kayce, do some business.
It's time to get unfucked, Brandon, our favorite unfucked segment. Now, Brandon, I'm going to let you, because you are the leader of the show here, even though sometimes I disagree with it. But should we all do one, or do you want to do a collective unfucked presented by Mobile X?
Let me take this one.
All right. Okay. So this segment is sponsored by Mobile X. It's a new app, mobile phone service that you only pay for the data, talk, and text that you use, which means that you can save up to 90% of your current mobile phone service. All the stuff you don't use, all the other plans, they're going to screw you over. They're going to fuck you over. Not Mobile X. So switch to Mobile X. Will help you get unfucked. Brandon, college football playoff. What?
While you're talking, look up there. Liam's just typing in the chat. He's just going at it in the chat with the Ohio State fans.
Yeah,
anyway.
he's angrily typing. Okay, Brandon, first round college football playoff, December 20th and 21st. Yeah. Who needs to get unfucked?
I mean, it's easy. It's exactly who we were just talking about. It's Ohio State. What happened. What took place in Columbus a couple weeks ago took place in Columbus a couple of weeks ago. Now you're in the college football playoff. You can erase every bad thing he just said about Ryan Day. You can erase every bad thing Big Ev fears about Ryan Day and this team by going out and getting this playoff run started. You need to beat Tennessee, and then I'm pretty sure you think you can beat Oregon. I know you lost them the first time, but that was a coin flip game. The road to getting unfucked starts right here, and if they beat Tennessee – and then they beat Oregon, look out, because they're the favorites to win the national championship. It can happen that fast. They just have to get whatever happened in their mind out of their mind, realize that they are the most talented football team in the country, or one of them, realize they are good enough to win the national championship. They got to get unfucked, and it starts at the top with Ryan Day.
Ryan Day needs to get unfucked. And if you want to get unfucked, go check out mymobilex.com or download the Mobile X app from the App Store or Google Play.
All right. What do you want to do, Kayce? Do you want to do the categories or the bracket?
Listen, I think we can do both. I know we've got like 15 minutes before surviving or, get our heads chopped off.
Let's do the bracket first.
I want brackets because I also love I know, Brandon, you tweeted it, like looking back at what we thought the brackets would look like, comparing that. So I think brackets.
Kayce?
Okay.
I'll let you go first. So
okay.
I'll call the game out, and then you fill in the blank, okay?
Okay.
All right. This weekend, Notre Dame, Indiana on Friday night.
Notre Dame.
So you've got Notre Dame going through. All
Notre
right.
Dame's advancing.
Notre Dame advancing. Big Ev, who you got going through?
Yeah, Notre Dame. Notre Dame wins.
I have Notre Dame as well, and Blutman is a Notre Dame sweep.
Yep.
All right. Notre Dame. So Penn State, SMU on Saturday. I've got Penn State. Is that across the board?
Penn State.
Yep.
Okay, Penn State. Ohio State and Tennessee, Big F.
Buckeyes.
Kayce.
Tennessee.
Blutman.
Yep. Tennessee.
And me, Ohio State. And then Texas, Clemson, Kayce.
Texas.
Big F.
Texas.
I will say Texas.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it. And you're like, right. I want to, but I also want to be right on my bracket.
I don't.
Do it.
Clemson.
Yes.
Clemson. I'll say it.
Good for you. Have the balls, Brandon. Good for you.
I'll say it. All right, Clemson. All right, that sets up number 2 seed Georgia with a backup quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, against, according to all of us, Notre Dame. Kayce, who you got?
Georgia. I understand it's a backup quarterback. I don't think Carson Beck was something to write home about. We saw him make some goofs. I know he's great. Georgia's more talented across the board than Notre Dame. Give me Georgia.
Big Ev, Notre Dame against Georgia.
Georgia.
Blutman, Notre Dame against Georgia.
Notre Dame. Georgia has not been consistent all year. They haven't been a world beater all year. They haven't been repping the G like they have in years past. Gunnar Stockton had a great first drive against Texas, full of adrenaline and pumped up and everything. He was pretty pedestrian after that. Gritty in overtime, but I think Notre Dame, man.
I will agree with Blutman, and I will go Notre Dame to beat Georgia. I just don't think Georgia's Georgia. In the second round, you have unanimously Penn State against Boise State. Big Ev.
Penn State.
Penn State. Kayce.
Penn State.
Blutman.
Penn State.
And I will make it the sweep. Penn State with the easiest road as the 6th seed. We were split. 2 of us have Tennessee and number 1 Oregon. I'll let those 2 go first. Kayce, Tennessee and Oregon.
Oregon.
Blutman, Oregon, Tennessee.
I kind of really want to take Tennessee. I'll take Tennessee. What the heck?
What the hell? Why not?
I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe it, but I like Tennessee.
Yeah. And 2 of us have Ohio State, Oregon. Big Ev. Uh-oh. All right.
Hat is turning, boys.
You go Ohio State?
Till the wheels fall off.
And I also will go Ohio State. And then we 3 of you have Texas and Arizona State. Big Ev.
Texas.
Kayce.
Arizona State.
Blutman.
Yeah, I really want to do. I kind of just want to live and die with ASU.
I can't make it.
I love Dillingham so much.
And I'll say Clemson because I just can't. My conscience can't allow 75% of the show to think Arizona State's going to the semifinal. I just can't do it.
Arizona State's going to beat the shit out of Texas. You heard it here first.
All right. That leaves us with what does that leave us with? All right. So raise your hand if you've got Penn State and Georgia playing in one semifinal. Okay. Big Ev, go ahead.
Georgia.
Kayce.
Georgia.
All right. Raise your hand if you have Penn State and Notre Dame playing in one semifinal. Blutman.
You go first.
Penn State. Did I just put Penn State to play for a national title?
You did.
No. Wait.
Notre Dame.
No, put them to the Final Four.
Notre Dame.
Yep.
Wait, no. We're in the Final Four.
Notre Dame. I hate this.
You got Hold on. Where are we?
We're at the national championship.
You just put Penn State into the national championship.
You got Georgia national title. You got Georgia national title. You got Notre Dame national title. I got Penn State.
Yeah, we're idiots, me and you, Brandon.
Fuck. Okay.
We ain't the smartest, but that's good.
And the other one is, can I take some mulligan? All right. The other one is, I got Clemson, Ohio State, and I got Ohio State playing in the national title game. Big Ev, you've got Ohio State and Arizona State. I assume you also have Ohio State?
I have Ohio State and Texas.
Do you have Ohio State or Texas?
Till the wheels fall off.
And Kayce?
I have Arizona State playing Oregon and Oregon advancing to the national championship.
Okay. So your national title, Big Ev, is Ohio State and Georgia.
Yeah.
Kayce, your national title is Oregon and Georgia.
Yep.
Blutman, your national title is who?
Tennessee and Notre Dame, but I have a ticket on ASU to win the title, so I'm rooting for that.
And I have a thrilling matchup of Ohio State, Penn State for the national fucking championship.
Brandon's scenario is a dream where if Ohio State plays Clemson and Penn State in the Final Four national title, sign me the fuck up.
Going through it, we already knew it, but that one side of the bracket is just so much weaker than the other side. It just is. it's got a group of 5 team. No discredit to Boise State for being a group of 5, but there is a talent mismatch there. It's got SMU, who's just it was like, Brandon, you want to take the
Yeah, it's got a group of 5 team. It has SMU, doesn't really belong here. It has Indiana, who doesn't really belong at this level. It has Georgia with a backup quarterback. They haven't even played well with their starter. It's got Notre Dame, who lost to Northern Illinois, and it's got Penn State, who hasn't won a big game in decades.
It's the land of misfit toys region. There it is.
Yeah, and then the other side, you have a Texas team who was in the playoff last year. You have an Ohio State team who was constantly here. You have a Clemson team who was constantly here. You have Oregon, who's the best team in the country. So yeah, it is a little imbalanced. And the Carson Beck injury, no matter what you think of him, is causing a little bit more imbalance because
a little bit.
Now, if Gunnar Stockton comes out and is great, I can't. Cardale Jones once won a national title, so this has happened before. But
so, Brandon, you have Ohio State winning the national title?
I have Ohio State beating Penn State to win the national championship. I couldn't even get through that. I have Ohio State.
That'd be a dream.
Big F, you got Ohio State beating Georgia for the national title?
Yeah, of course I do. And I truly can't imagine a college football world where Ryan Day and James Franklin are facing off for a national title.
It's so good.
But just knowing that, like, no matter what, one of those coaches would be walking away a national champion would be incredible.
Kayce, you had Oregon and you had Georgia.
Oregon will be winning the national title. I had Oregon and Georgia in my preseason predictions to be in the national title. Oregon to win it. I'm going to stick with that. Dan Lanning, that manly man, he's going to be hosting that trophy.
And Blutman, you had, of course, Tennessee and Notre Dame in your national championship game.
Yeah, and I think Notre Dame matches up pretty well in their run game and the effectiveness.
You're about to pick the Notre Dame Fighting Irish team.
I hate everything about this, but I look like their mascot anyway. So yeah, Notre Dame.
When the graphics of this come out, by the way, like, I just can't wait. I'm gonna run to the comments for Liam's.
The team
just because the Notre Dame fans will love you.
The team that got laughed off the field because they lost to Northern Illinois winning the national championship in the same season, as Brandon would say, great story.
All right, we can end it there because
we got to remind people about Shake Shack, though, Brandon. We got to remind people there's the Burger Blitz going on right now, and we talked about it last week. We talked about it on all the shows right now. Our last episode, $10 minimum purchase. That's it. Ev's kissing his Shake Shack right now. Why would you not? And you get a free burger. And every day through December 24th, through Christmas Eve, there's a different burger on the Shake Shack Holiday Burger Blitz. Today's just the classic cheeseburger, folks. We love a good classic cheeseburger. Love Shake Shack. Get some of the fries. Get maybe a nice lemonade. Go to Shake Shack today or go to the app online. Use the code Burger Blitz and look out for more free burgers every single day. Again, minimum $10 purchase, but you get a free burger. Throw an extra one in there. Why not today? Again, the classic cheeseburger, Burger Blitz. We're all going to be in Chicago together watching the Ohio State-Tennessee game. We're going to be in Columbus, Ohio for the college football show. We're going to go to Chicago. We're going to be eating Shake Shack, folks. Burger Blitz.
Delicious, wonderful, awesome.
Brandon, yep. By the way, and I have surviving on. We still have 2 minutes very quickly. Have you processed, so obviously we're doing the show in Columbus, which is going to be very, very cold. We're going to do it. Ev's going to have his moment. I think they're bringing every security guard we have on the payroll to go. Then we're going to get back on the jet and go to Chicago, where we're going to walk into Ohio State and Big T streaming the beginning of the game. I feel like you, me, and Dan are going to be, and Liam are just going to be watching a war.
Big T's interesting because Big T treats his games almost like he's a golfer, where he's playing the course and not really the man so much. Like, he's just locked into on his team and he's going to react. He's not a huge shit talker. Tate, I've never watched a huge Ohio State game with. I can imagine him being a real cunt.
Brandon, do you not remember watching that Tennessee-Alabama game in the Jersey house when Big T scared me so bad when I was pregnant? I had to jump over the couch to
yeah, but he wasn't shit talking anybody. He was just yelling in excitement, right?
I don't know. I think he was
yelling in anger. No, he was yelling in anger. Oh, Alabama got a pass interference call.
Something crazy. But listen, Ev, thoughts and prayers to you, because we're all gonna have long days on Saturday, brother. We're going to go to war with you.
I mean, my day will be 2 chapters. I'll be doing the show and everything. And then, I'll be streaming the game as well in Chicago. So,
yep. I know. That's what I'm saying. We're going to be walking into those. You're going to be siding with Ohio State. It's going to be crazy. Wild day.
All right. Let's get out of the way of Surviving Barstool. Thanks for watching.